What's up, everyone? Episode 4 of Euphoria Season 3 just dropped. And honestly, this might be the most intense episode of the season so far. We're watching every single character make choices that are gonna haunt them. And the parallels between their stories are absolutely insane. If you haven't watched the episode yet, massive spoiler warning right now. But if you have, stick around because we're breaking down everything that happened, the hidden meanings, and what this all means for the rest of the season. Let's get into it. Let's start with Cassie, because her storyline this episode was both fascinating and deeply uncomfortable to watch. After everything that went down at the wedding with Nate, Cassie finally reaches her breaking point. She packs her bags, leaves, and here's the symbolic part. She pawns her wedding ring to rent an apartment. Think about that for a second. The ring that's supposed to represent her commitment and love, she literally trades it for a chance at reinventing herself. But here's where things get dark. Cassie decides to go back to selling content online, and she connects with Maddy to help manage her. Now, throughout this episode, we see Cassie put herself in increasingly dangerous situations. The scene with Brandon? Absolutely unsettling. She's taking substances she doesn't want, pretending to be someone she's not, all to get that one photo that'll make her go viral.
What really got me was how the episode contrasts Cassie's world with Kitty's story at the club. The editing here is brilliant. We're cutting between these two young women who are essentially in similar situations, just in different settings. Cassie thinks she's in control, that her world is safer, but the scene right before Maddy bursts in shows us she's just as vulnerable. There's this shot of two young girls watching Cassie get into Maddy's car for the first time, and it hit me. That's who Cassie used to be. Just a regular girl with normal dreams. Now she's entering this world where she's commodifying herself for likes and validation. Now, let's talk about Rue, because her storyline this episode was genuinely stressful to watch. The DEA pulls her over, and suddenly Rue is facing a choice that's really no choice at all. Become an informant or face 20 years minimum in prison. And that's just for distribution. Every death connected to the drugs she moved, another 20 years. So now Rue's walking this impossible tightrope. She's playing poker with Alamo and his crew while wearing a wire. One wrong move and she's dead. But if she doesn't cooperate with the DEA, her life is over anyway. What really stood out to me was Rue's relationship with Kitty. When Rue hears that Angel ran away from rehab, which, let's be real, probably means she's dead, Rue tries to look out for Kitty. That scene with Kitty in the center of the room surrounded by those men, absolutely harrowing. And Rue watching it on the CCTV footage, you can see it's destroying her.
When someone says, "How's she doing? She making her money's worth?" that line reveals everything. These girls aren't people to them. They're objects. They're disposable. Rue giving up Faye's name to the DEA? That's a death sentence. And Rue knows it. The caring part of Rue is going to be her downfall. Because in this world, compassion gets you killed. Can we talk about how Lexi is literally the only person trying to do things the right way, and she's getting absolutely screwed for it? She's working her way up in the industry legitimately. She asks Jules to do a painting for the set, which should be simple, right? Jules is an artist. Except Jules paints nudity for a network TV show, then gets offended when they ask her to change it. The result? The production gets delayed a week. It cost them $191,000. And who takes the blame? Lexi. I found Jules' reaction completely over the top here. Yes, maybe Lexi could have been more specific with the brief, but Jules can't separate professional feedback from personal attack. She's so caught up in selling her time for money that she's lost sight of her actual craft. Lexi's watching all her friends spiral. Jules abandoning her dreams, Rue dealing drugs, Cassie selling content, Maddy managing it all. And she's just trying to build a career the traditional way. But this episode shows us that even in the legitimate world, one mistake can cost you everything. Nate's storyline was shorter this episode, but it's setting up something major. He thought his toe being saved was symbolic, that if doctors could reattach his toe, maybe he could repair his marriage with Cassie. But Cassie's gone, and now Nas is breathing down his neck about the money he owes.
The committee scene where they deny his project, watching Nate drop to his knees and beg was both pathetic and tragic. He's not begging because he cares about the project. He's begging because he knows Nas will kill him if this doesn't go through. I think we're watching Nate lose absolutely everything. His wife, his project, and potentially his life. The debt he owes isn't going away, and he has no way to pay it. What made this episode so strong was the intentional paralleling between characters. Cassie and Kitty, both young women selling themselves in different contexts, both exposed to dangerous men, both using substances to cope. The editing would cut between their scenes seamlessly, showing us they're only separated by a few degrees. Cassie's world feels safer, but it's not. Not really. There's also the parallel between Maddy and Jules, both commodifying art in different ways. Maddy's managing Cassie like a product. Jules has turned her art into a transaction. The theme of the season seems to be, what's the price you're willing to pay? Rue's paying with her morals and potentially her life. Jules paid with her passion. Cassie's paying with her dignity and safety. Here's my prediction. Cassie's going to get the followers and money she wants, but it's going to destroy her mentally. The attention will come at a cost she didn't anticipate.
Rue's gonna have to choose between betraying Alamo or going to prison. Either choice could be fatal. I think Faye's as good as dead after Rue gave her up. Lexi's gonna start distancing herself from everyone because she literally can't afford to let their chaos bleed into her world anymore. And Nate, I think we're watching his final episodes. He's lost everything, and the debt he owes is going to catch up with him. This was an incredibly strong episode. Not as explosive as the wedding episode, but emotionally, it hit even harder. Every character is trapped in a situation of their own making, and we're watching them spiral deeper. The cinematography, the parallel editing, the thematic consistency, it all worked. My only criticism is that Cassie's character sometimes feels a bit one note. The dumb blonde act works to a point, but I'm hoping we see more layers as the season continues. Also, people have been saying the soundtrack isn't hitting like previous seasons, and I'd agree. There haven't been those iconic needle drops that defined earlier episodes. That's a missed opportunity. But overall, I'm really enjoying this season. Watching these characters navigate adulthood and darker worlds is compelling television. So, that's my full breakdown of Euphoria Season 3, Episode 4. What did you think? Did I miss anything? Drop your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more episode analyses. I'll be covering every episode this season, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.